Hello, happy viewers. Thank you for joining us as we return once again to Ohio, USA to speak with Elitom bin Israel, who will give us a little more insight into the first days of his lifestyle as a breatharian.
For starters, I want to change the name of breatharianism. I'm going to change it to food alchemy so people can have a better understanding what we're talking about. This is a science, so you're actually dealing with the alchemy of foods. We're at a level where food alchemy have upgraded itself, where people understand that they can live a full life without never touching meat nor touching an animal byproduct. Food alchemy does not end there, just like technology and science. So that's why we want people to understand that this is a science. It has also upgraded itself again that people are just living off of fruit, and people are going on to the levels of living off of prana, but it's still on the basis of food alchemy, because the bottom line, the reason why people eat is because you're looking for energy. And the body can run off of other sources of energy, and this is why we named it food alchemy.
It was mentioned to me about the 21-day process. Now, could you explain to us what that is?
The 21-day process is basically a cycle that the human being can stop eating and stop drinking for 21 days, and that is designed to get the body into a new type of cycle. It usually takes 3 weeks for the taste buds in the body, for instance, to change, because cooked foods, meats, and stuff like that is very addictive. However, to stop eating and drinking completely will put the body into another type of cycle, because the body is now forced, in order to live, to detoxify itself, but at the same time simultaneously heal itself, and also to start grabbing energies from other sources. After the 21 days, however, now it depends on a person's lifestyle, where they at. Depending on your lifestyle, some people have the ability, if they was already meditating, already on higher level diets, to continue to go on without food or drinks. However, some people, that might be the opportunity to upgrade to a higher level, because the taste buds have changed, and depending on your job in life, how strenuous it is, the people around you, it all determines. That's why you got to use the higher consciousness that's inside you to start dictating on where you need to go from there, and how long you need to be there before you can upgrade an inch further. Because this is very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. The body is intelligent enough to know when to let toxicity out of the liver, out of the kidneys. But you don't want to overdo it, overrush it. Just take your time, because you got all day in creation to go ahead and start working on yourself. When I talk about food alchemy, is basically a prolonged meditation. The more you focus on your body, the more energy come into it. But when your body is saturated with toxins and stuff like that, there's certain places your mind is not in your body, because it hurts too much because of the pain that's taking place, even if you consciously don't feel it.
How did he cope with his daily life while attempting to go through the 21-day process to become food-free? For Elitom, a breatharian lifestyle begins with fasting.
How do we get from point A to point B? Take us through the simple steps from the beginning. Us who base on 3 meals a day, breathing the regular air, depending on regular food. So please take us on your journey from day one, the discomfort, all the things that you're going through your mind.
Now the journey, and this depends on where a person's at, but I'm going to show you the levels that I took. I like the levels of dealing with different diet changes, lightening them up, and also incorporating fasting into your life. Because I remember when I started fasting once a week, during that 24-hour time period, we couldn't wait till it was over, because we wanted to eat that meal to break the fast. Now keep in mind that the word breakfast is 2 words. It means breaking your fast. So every morning when you wake up, you have just broken your fast when you eat breakfast. So everybody's on a cycle of being a breatharian already, and you already live a life of fasting. It's just that some people discipline themselves to take it to a wider level than others. As soon as you stop drinking or putting anything in your body automatically goes into a cycle of healing itself. If you're standing listening to this broadcast not eating, your body's in a cycle of healing itself until you put something in it. So, going back to this cycle of going to point A to point B, over a period of time when I was fasting, it got to the point where we forgot when the 24 hours was over. Because we've been fasting, the body got into that cycle, got so used to it. So now that was a level to take it even further. You can go 2 days. You could go 3 days. Some people choose to eat once a week. Now, depending on where you at consciously, that depends on how much time this is going to take. Now, keep in mind, being in a Western culture, this is a culture of instant gratification. People want stuff to happen real fast. This is not what we're talking about. In the East, you might just learn, especially in ancient times, it might take 2 years just to learn how to stand in a certain position to get the energy flowing in your body before you even get into learning the martial art itself. And they understood that it took a lifetime to master that. So dealing with the food alchemy levels that we're talking about, this is not no game where you just think you're going to jump in here and jump out and you've been eating all your life. Aches and pains all over the body, on medication. You got to think about what you're up against. However, it will happen when you put your body into this cycle, because there's even more fruits than what we're talking about right now that the human being can evolve to. We're just on that level to bring it forth to where we're at right now in our research and to where you can take it.
When Elitom decided to become a breatharian, notwithstanding his busy schedule of working and taking care of his family, he had to adapt according to his environment in order to wean off his need for physical food.
You've also mentioned that you were pretty much normal. You didn't do a retreat or anything. What do you mean by normal? Can you elaborate more on that?
Well, normal just means that I was living a standard of this society. Eating 3 meals a day, having a job every day, taking care of the family. So you're basically just doing normal things compared to doing something, going to the levels of living more off of prana. So to go into those levels, yes, I wish I could have went to a retreat. But like I said, having a job, got to keep a roof over your head and stuff like this. How am I going to go into this doing these everyday things that this society requires for you to be into it? So I had to think of a new way, and it took deep thought. So that's when I started creating another level to making diet changes. You know, I went from the veganism to the live and raw foods to the juicing, taking those levels, still doing my duties and work. And even on those levels, there's healing crises. There's times where you be tired, just still eating, going to those levels till the body get used to it. But when I seen when the body started getting used to it, that it can't keep going, then you just go further and further and further.
Hello, enlightened viewers. Thank you for joining us as we return once again to Ohio, USA to speak with Elitom Ben Israel, who will give us a little more insight into the first days of his lifestyle as a breatharian. On our last episode, Elitom shared with our Supreme Master television correspondent a new phrase which he had coined when talking about breatharianism.
I'm going to change it to food alchemy so people can have a better understanding what we're talking about. This is a science, so you're actually dealing with the alchemy of foods. Now we're at a level where food alchemy have upgraded itself, where people understand that they can live a full life without never touching meat nor touching an animal byproduct. Food alchemy does not end there, just like technology and science. So that's why we want people to understand that this is a science. It has also upgraded itself again, that people are just living off of fruit, and people are going on to the levels of living off of prana, but it's still on the basis of food alchemy, because the bottom line, the reason why people eat is because you're looking for energy. And the body can run off of other sources of energy, and this is why we named it food alchemy.
Elitom also discussed his experiences when he first started the 21-day process to transition to becoming food-free.
Yes, I wish I could have went to a retreat. But like I said, having a job, got to keep a roof over your head and stuff like this. How am I going to go into this doing these everyday things that this society requires for you to be into it? So I had to think of a new way, and it took deep thought. So that's when I started creating another level to making diet changes. You know, I went from the veganism to the live and raw foods to the juicing, taking those levels, still doing my duties and work. And even on those levels, there's healing crises. There's times where you be tired, just still eating, going to those levels till the body get used to it. But when I seen when the body started getting used to it, that it can't keep going, then you just go further and further and further.
What did you do when you were hungry during this 21-day process? How did you deal with it?
Well, there's another term that I'm going to bring up to sound kind of new. What breatharian is also not only food alchemy that I said, so you could deal with the scientific, the energies you put in your body has an effect on how you're operating. But breatharianism is also a prolonged meditation. It goes hand in hand with meditation because that's what it is. Sort of like when you're in a meditative state, you're not sitting there eating popcorn. You follow me? So basically you're taking your life, you're not just in a sitting position of meditation now. You're basically doing things, walking through life, and when different things are taking place, stresses in the body, now your mind is challenging it. So it's going to another level. You find out that you don't get hungry. When the body start growling and stuff like that, that is toxicity moving, and actually the intestines is trying to rid that out of the body. That's all the body's going through. You start realizing this. You start going into a higher level of self-realization. So that's why when I got to earlier about conscious tasting that a lot of breatharians do, they understand they can do that because it's not hunger. The body's going to get rid of it, but now their mind got so strong they can actually lead the toxicity out the body compared to the other person who, when you first get into these stages, is saturated there. You're looking at it as hunger. Let me go get something else because it stops. Well, of course it stopped because as soon as you put something in the body, the detoxification process stopped.
So actually the pain that we feel is not the pain for food?
It's not the pain for food at all. It's nothing but the intestines start moving to get rid of the toxicity. That's all it is. Those people who fast often will find out once they get past the third day, hunger pains stop. You get to the seventh day, a lot of major toxicities within the body have purged themselves out, and you're not hungry. Usually when you eat, your mind goes off like that, it's because of conditioning and emotional imbalances.
Is that the same with drinking, absorbing liquid?
Yes, because the liquids, the more toxicity you have in your body, the more you should drink. Of course, drinking water will help detoxify the body, or the juice fast and stuff like that. That's what it's doing. The liquid is just another, sort of like what I talked about last time about the apple. It's nothing but molecules put together. But the thickness of the apple, the molecules are just moving a lot more slowly. When you get the apple juice, it's the same molecules, but the behavior of the atoms changed, and the molecules are just moving a lot faster. That's what made the solid into a liquid. So we get into breatharianism, there is a vibration of an apple that you cannot see. And they have machines now, like the harmonic translator is one of them. That is a machine where you can put your finger, put your hair into it. It'll tell you everything that's going on with the body. And they do have now, when you research the harmonic translators, you can give a person a herb through an email because it's nothing more than a vibration. And they also have drugs and everything else. I dealt in the school one time where they was given those classes where they give kids drugs to cool them down. They went from the medication and the pill, and now they're giving them the lights. So we're already on a level of vibration. The thought can start feeding the body if a person allows it to and start paying more conscious attention.
He also addressed an important level that has a significant impact on a person who is going through the initial stages of becoming food-free.
There's a level you get to when you understand that the body can live off of more prana, and it's called conscious tasting. Now, I want to bring this in. When you get to a certain level, you can start setting perimeters for your life. Because all of our lives is nothing but a tapestry, a weave of thought processes. That's what creates the totality of your life. And that goes to the spouse you have, to the things you're eating, to the things you're not eating, to the clothes you wear. This is all your thought process. When a breatharian did was they just gained more domination of their life. Instead of letting somebody else guide it, now you're weaving your tapestry of life. Now, dealing with conscious tasting. Say, for instance, you with a friend. A breatharian will go and probably have tea with them at the cafe. But somebody will jump up and say, oh, you're not a breatharian. See, you need tea. See, look at that. So that's why a lot of them don't want the fanfare, because why can't I live a normal life? In other words, that's what they're saying without... And the human mind has the ability to point fingers in order to justify its own behavior. Because this is not like an Alcoholics Anonymous class where you get up and say, hey, my name is Elitom, and I've been food-free for 6 months. Keep coming back, it works. So you don't want to get into that cycle. That's why a lot of breatharians don't come out, because they still want to live the perimeters that they're set for their life, but they did take their life to another level to where they have more time, more tapestry, and they are reaping the benefits, and all they're doing is just try to show it to the rest of the flock so they could pull themselves upward also. So it could go into, what, stopping global warming. That's going to give us more time on the planet. So that's the whole gift. So there we are right there on being normal, to go into another circumstance, dealing with our spiritual walk.
Hello, enlightened viewers. Thank you for joining us as we return once again to Ohio, USA, to speak with Elitom Ben Israel, who will give us a little more insight into the first days of his lifestyle as a breatharian.
Now tell us about your family members and friends and neighbors. They must have wondered why you stopped eating, or how did you deal with their reactions?
Well, Dylan, just like most of your holistic practitioners will tell you, family and friends is the hardest ones to deal with. That's just the way it is. So at the same time, you got to make up your mind on your journey. Do you give up and say, well, let me blend back into the flock and don't go no further? Or go ahead and try to set perimeters to deal with this lifestyle, but deal with their lifestyle at the same time? Or do you just take it all away? And usually there will be a fade of communication that does take place. But it depends on how you're creating your life. I try to tell some of my family members, don't you see so-and-so who just died, or so-and-so who got a sickness? That came from this. So for people to see that, but instead of coming to you, there's nothing you can do until a person wakes up.
What did you do when people invite you to dinner or out to eat? How did you deal with those situations?
Well, it all depends where you're at in your breatharian journey. The reason I say this, there's a level called a baby breatharian. That's when you first come into it. Now, back then when I dealt with situations like that, I'll try to go to the highest vibration as possible to fit in, not to get attention. So you'll probably get a light soup, some broth, something to drink, just to blend in, not to bring attention to you, because some people were either... You'd be surprised how angry they get when their belief system is stepped on. So you run into that. Then you got your levels of a teenage breatharian. That's where you've been in the game for a while, where you understand that you got more power now. It ain't so much that it's dragging you in to eat, but you can deal with people more on their thought process. Now, I don't deal with that today. You know, that just takes growth. And then you got, of course, your adult breatharian where you don't need to deal at all. You won't even be there 9 times out of 10. Because, like I said, most people's lives are focused around the sex issue or the eating issue. Most of your entertainment and everything else, your life began to fade, and you began to start making another life for yourself on the things that you're doing that don't require these requirements. So that's when you can start getting into the adult levels, and that could be real tough too for people to make their transition. Are they going to let go of certain foods and certain places of influence? It ain't so much as the hunger, of the influence to continue this journey.
Once he had made the complete transition to living on prana, Elitom had more time to discover and develop other aspects of himself.
What do you do with all the extra time you suddenly have? Did you explore new interests? Did you socialize more?
The new interest is the real good thing. That's when I learned how to crochet, read more books, get into biking. You start finding all these other things. I even picked up guitars and learned new languages, because you got more time to do things, focus on things, study, and that's the whole great thing, the whole knowledge piece of to learn more. You can learn more about physics. Even Respiratorianism, what I know now, I could talk more about it due to the journey. Because there's more knowledge that comes out, and you find out too that in science it's like, wow, you run into things where they kind of knew this all along. It's just somebody just didn't bring it to the forefront. Even dealing with Einstein, or E equals mc squared, energy and matter is the same thing. So that brings you back to start researching these things that these men was already picking up, and you're actually seeing them manifested now in many different things of technology, the new inventions that's coming out, and even how the human being is operating on overall, our lifespan is getting a lot more bigger than it used to be. So you're taking part in the whole function of dealing with time. You got more things to explore these things and see it all come together.
There is no time for boredom, isn't it?
There's no time for boredom.
Leading a busy lifestyle with full responsibilities while living as a breatharian has its challenges. Elitom shared some tips on how to manage it and what to expect.
What worked best for you during this time, to be alone or with other people, or it didn't really matter? What was your experience like?
Well, that is a big issue too, because you do go through a time period of being alone to redirect the pieces of which way you want your life to go. Because like I said before, it was a tapestry of energies. You had the lunch, breakfast, dinner. You had the different engagements that everywhere you went, there was this food taking place. And those interests start fading when you start breaking the reality of matter, or the illusion of matter. So you start creating other realities on which routes you want to go. And it might seem shaky at first as you bring in new energies, because you're thinking 9 times out of 10 might be limited, or what's about to open up. And that's just something to admit to yourself. So you do go through changes of boredom. You probably have relationships that you went out and see that their life was focused around that, and that begins to fade. Their conversation begins to fade because you're now dealing with physics and metaphysics. You're looking at things differently, and this person is not on it. They're still talking about sports. That's all right too, but it becomes limited.
Elitom was creative in adapting to the breatharian lifestyle, modifying or reinventing new methods to fit his busy schedule.
Did you have moments of self-doubt? Did you wonder if you were doing the right thing? Were there any inner struggles? How did you deal with it?
Oh, yes. First going through it, the first person I looked at was Jas Muheen's 21-day process. And here I am grabbing that, and I'm actually going to rewrite it. That's basically what I said in my mind. I can't go to no 21-day retreat. I'm going to attempt to rewrite this. Come with another method. So as I went into that, there was many doubts that, man, you better do just the way that's already established. But I'm basically challenging that, and there was many doubts in that process, especially when you're still dealing with the emotional mind. You might have trouble at work, trouble with friends or something. The mind gets real agitated. So the first thing it wants to do is jump right back into food, and you might, because it was a drug. It's sort of like even fried foods are addictive. it's a drug. And you start finding that out, and you start looking at yourself saying, man, I wasn't hungry. Why did I do that? But you're dealing with these stresses just like letting go of alcohol or drugs. And then you start getting stronger dealing with it. And you're actually rewriting as you go a new curriculum for others to take, because they might be going down the path you were taking, instead of going to that retreat we was talking about earlier. All people don't have $200-300 or more dollars to go to a retreat and lock themselves in. So yeah, there was much doubt, but it got overcame as time went on, to pick up new methods. Let's try it this way. How about if this happens? Because I started looking at myself more as a scientist.
For those who want to attempt becoming food-free, Elitom advised an ever-vigilant attitude towards the body and be flexible in adapting to any scenario.
How did you motivate yourself to get through each day of the 21-day process? Were there specific things that you do?
I'm glad I started picking up meditation to help me through that and started seeing the energy comes up. But full motivation is I wanted to see what was going to happen. So you're taking yourself through that. When it gets hard, you know, you're working with the energies of your body. I'm glad I learned energy work before I got into that. So the whole motivation of just rewriting a new curriculum, seeing what's going to take place, seeing could a body do this. But then again, you always got to keep that flag up on when to quit. And this is what a lot of people don't have. When you got people bringing forth knowledge to you, it's up to you to investigate that and have that flag inside of you on when to quit and when to listen. When we're teaching these curriculums, you got to have a flag inside of you too. Just don't say, well, just because he did it, I know I can keep on going, and it's 90 degrees outside of you, your body's aching, you're about to pass out. You might need to take a chill that day until the body gets stronger, until you can continue, because this is your journey. Others is just giving information.
Aside from having a lot of time to develop his other talents, Elitom derived other satisfying benefits while leading a food-free lifestyle.
Was there anything that happened that stood out to you during this 21-day process? Was your thinking clearer?
The thinking is clearer, the body straightens itself up. You notice that you start appreciating the body more, because there's certain aches and pains that went through the body. You didn't see it there before, and now you see it. It became healthier. The benefits is just great. If you go traveling and you're practicing food alchemy, you don't have to jump out to go use the bathroom right away. You don't have to. You got more energy throughout the day. I was just telling one young man, I'm in my 40s, but I walked 3 miles yesterday to get to my son's house, but I did that like it was nothing. It was like, okay, do I turn this off or go catch a cab? You just walk. You'll get there because the body's a lot healthier now and it could do this. So there's benefits that you start enjoying, and even where we at now, you can take it even further as life goes on.
In scriptures, the human body is often referred to as the temple of God. Yet, it is quite an uncommon privilege for any soul to attain this sacred abode that houses the divine, as it is truly a blessing to be reborn as a human being. On several occasions, Supreme Master Ching Hai has spoken about the rarity of this phenomenon.
To be reincarnate in the human world is hard. You have to have enough human quality. You have to have affinity with the parents, yeah, and with the society, with the people around which you were born. And very difficult. To be a human, you need some merit. You have done something good in the past in order to be able, yeah, to be able to pick a human birth.
As a living temple of God, the human body is fully equipped with miraculous wonders that can be awakened in those who are spiritually conscious and have complete faith in the Creator of all life. Inedia, Latin for fasting, is the human ability to live without food. Since time immemorial, there have always been individuals who can sustain themselves on prana, or the vital life force. Through the grace of Providence, Inediates, people who follow a food-free lifestyle, can draw the energy from nature to nourish themselves.
They live on the chi, from the ground, or from the forest, and from the sun and from the air. They make use of all that. Or they live on love, on faith alone.
These individuals are known as breatharians, pranarians or Inediates, solarians or Watarians, and they come from all walks of life, from different cultures and all corners of the world. Indeed, the possibilities and miracles in this life, as our benevolent Creator has designed for us, are endless. We only need to connect within to recognize our abounding largesse as God's children. Supreme Master Ching Hai has lovingly recommended a weekly series on Supreme Master Television to introduce those individuals of the past and present who have chosen to live food-free on earth. May their spiritual stories enthrall you. May hearts be opened and horizons be expanded. We now invite you to join us for Part 4 of our 4-part program entitled Elitom ben Israel, Breatharianism for a Working Person, on Between Master and Disciples. This program discusses the possibility of breatharianism, or living without eating food, and is not a full instruction.
For your safety, please do not attempt to cease eating without proper expert guidance.
Gracious viewers, thank you for joining us as we return once again to Ohio, USA to speak with Elitom ben Israel, who will give us a little more insight into the first days of his lifestyle as a breatharian.
Did you ever feel the need to talk to someone about what you were doing?
On the beginning stages I did, but once I got the negativity, because I came up where it was nowhere around, that knowledge wasn't even there. So it was a quick door shut from every direction. So that's where made it hard for me. I had to go, how am I going to recreate this, deal with it until I could bring it forth and it gets stronger. So in the initial stages, there wasn't really nobody to talk to.
So it's like a calling inside that's so strong, you're going to do it no matter what.
Yes.
Where did you get this inner strength to just trust that everything will be okay? How did you have so much faith?
Well, actually, when I started noticing the aches and pains in my body going into my later 20s, didn't know what it was, tried to deal with it, went to the doctor, he had me some medication. But then I ran into somebody who just said, leave meats alone. That caught me right away, so I went into it. What else I'm going to do? And then when I started seeing the improvements of the body through diet, and the body started healing itself, then that got me on an avenue to understand more about what goes into the body and food, period. So I started taking it to higher levels to learn more and more and more. You start seeing the body bring forth new benefits, of energy, of health, vitality. So then right there, that's the motivation, the inner strength, the courage to keep on going. And then you start running into, well, how do I supposed to die? Do I supposed to die from liver ailments, cancer, strokes, diabetes? They're all preventive energies that's brought forth by habit. But that's out there. Well, won't you just quit the habit? And maybe you can live longer, enjoy more fruits of life because, you start loving life. You love life.
Did you keep a diary to document this journey you were taking?
Yes. Actually, I got quite a library that I wrote myself. Not only dealing with the 21-day process, even dealing with different things you go through. Like I said, I did many experiments with myself. What will happen if you eat this? I even got things documented where One minute I'm eating all oranges all throughout the week, just eating oranges. Then all of a sudden I get a 100% orange juice out the machine, and all of a sudden I felt the negativity of energy just from going from something that simple. I had all of these high motivations to do this and do that, and I just took it all out of me. So the food alchemy piece, everything you put in your body, dealing with how the energy is, how pure it is, everything has an effect on your thinking, because come to find out, your body is your thought process.
Once you had reached the 21 day, what was that like? Did you celebrate? Did you do anything different? How were you feeling?
Well, actually, I was happy that I got through it. But the main thing, I was still in awe that the body was still running around.
As someone who had been through all the initial trials and challenges of becoming food-free, Elitom has some helpful tips for those who have a busy lifestyle.
Do you have any recommendations for someone who is interested in becoming a breatharian but still have a job or family? What do you suggest?
Well, and that recommendation right there is basically dealing with myself on a challenge I took on having a family and having a job. You want to take it more slowly instead of just going all the way out, not eating and drinking, and this is going to happen. That's what I start recommending, the different diet changes. That's very important, because if you're already overweight and stuff like that, you know, I don't know if that got something to do with it, but at the same time, you do want to start strengthening the body. The more and more it becomes healthier, the more and more chi it has. The higher the diet, the more chi you have. So what you want to do is just start gaining your energy. That's the best recommendation I could give. And also putting your body in a cycle where you're at least fasting once a week. I do recommend that, so the body could get used to over a period of time, and it gets stronger, and it'll grab that other percentage. And I guess that's what I want to bring out up too. Say if I got a plate of food in my hand, you got the potatoes right here, the corn right here, and something else right here, and you're about to eat it. But at the same time, I said earlier, everybody's a breatharian, because you would die without breathing before you would without food or without water. Breath is doing something for your overall makeup just to move right off the rip. So on this plate of food, you already have a space there of dealing with chi, because that's what you're living off of. As time goes on, you're removing something off the plate, like say a little bit of the corn. More chi is coming on that plate over a period of time. Then you're moving some of the potatoes. Again, more chi is coming on that plate. You follow me? The more and more you start moving food off the plate, the more the other energy, which is food, is just more subtle, is coming on, filling up the plate for you to live off of. But as it goes, everybody is already living off of chi. Chi motivates or moves nature, and you are a representative or a duplicate or microcosm of nature. Same thing, got the 4 elements in the body and everything. So the chi is the main function, and all you're doing is just bringing more in, or allowing. It's not a forced thing at all. You're allowing more chi to come into the body so the body can function naturally like it was designed to do.
In order to help other people who are going through the same food-free process or are thinking of trying it out, Elitom wrote a book about his personal experiences.
You mentioned earlier about a book. Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like?
Okay, the book is called It's Okay to Be Healthy. And that right there is a book dealing with a person taking control of their health at a deeper level. You start out at one level, you know, you learn different things, but at the same time, there's other knowledge out here that you can grab that can take the body even further, to where some of the preventable diseases you don't have to never have, don't have to get them. And if you do have them, you should be able to reverse the process, because it's your body. Your body's listening to your mind. There's nobody holding us down, putting food in our mouths, in our bodies right now. You have control of that. And you also have control of how you're spending your time, throughout the day. And this is what the book is dealing with. And the gift that you're going to be given is more time. That's what it deals with. How are you spending your time in life? Because that's going to determine what your health is. It all goes hand in hand.
What made you want to write this book?
When I went through my transition, I said, this is what people need to know or need to hear. At least put it out there on the scene. But what motivated me to put more deeper thought into it is when Supreme Master Television came to me and wanted to know a lot of information. And then I started to see the horizon on how many people really want to know. Before what I told you when I first started, when I first grabbed the knowledge, nobody was interested. So when I went into it and started teaching, there was just a small group. But now I'm beginning to see how many people at least want to know that these avenues or this knowledge is being brought out, and that there's higher levels of food alchemy that a person could go into, and it's all up to them. So the whole motivation of bringing this forth is, good for me. I'm putting more thought into it, and now I got a chance to share all my notes that I've collected throughout the years, bringing in different scenarios, the different falls. A lot of people, who go into teaching don't want to bring in the falls that they have, some of the things that they've been into. I don't have no problem with it at all to show you that the human being could put themselves into this cycle and the body could keep going on and on and on. And it should be a very interesting book. It's not very big. It don't have to be big. It's just the crucial knowledge, getting straight to the points without all the fanfare. But it'll give a lot of an answer so people can start their journeys.
Elitom, thank you so much once again for your time and your wonderful answers. You just add another dimension to the human evolution.
We appreciate your magnanimous company for today's episode of Between Master and Disciples. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television for good people, good works, coming up next after Noteworthy News. Wishing you much love and kindness every day.
To contact Elitom ben Yisrael about his breatharian lifestyle, please email elitomben11969@hotmail.com. Literature on living food free. For a complete list, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/breatharians.
For more details, please visit www.suprememastertv.com/BMD.